Goldstein, adjunct organist Frank Pellico, and soloist Jim Cornelison for the Singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Welcome back to the UC, where the Blackhawks are 15-3-6 so far this year. And you look at Antti Raanta, who has played only one of the last 5 games after playing 12 straight, while Corey Crawford was hurt in December. But some very solid numbers he's put together so far. There is 6'6" Devan Dubnyk at the other end. He's won 2 of his last 3 decisions with 8 goals against. But to both Blackhawks wins where they scored 10 goals, those victories came at the expense of Devan Dubnyk. That's our forward goaltending matchup tonight. The officials tonight led by Eric Furlat and Gord Dwyer as the referees, the linesmen Tim Nowak and Brian Pansich. Marcus Kruger is back in between Ben Smith and Brandon Bollig. They're out there to start the game tonight, and we're underway.
And the first period of Blackhawk hockey is brought to you by Chevy and Chevy Drives Chicago.com. And as well, we'd like to welcome everyone in Chicago, and as well as those viewers turning into tonight's game on CSN Northwest.
Now the Oilers, Hemsky picks it up on the boards, cleared it ahead. Karan chipped it in. Hjalmarsson Took a hit but cleared it ahead, and Ben Smith dropped it back. Hawks looking to get a change completed as Hjalmarsson will work his way back to the Oiler line where he was checked. And back comes the checker, Nugent Hopkins. He lost the handle at center. Now taken back by Sam Gagner. A rare appearance as a winger for Gagner. Tried to center this one. It's picked off. Then held in. Petrie had his shot blocked. This one sails up and out of play.
Had an opportunity for an early teaching point for all young hockey players out there. From our Xfinity Telestrator, watch Boyd Gordon. He's going in to make a hit on Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Stop it right here. Look where his stick is. His stick is up in the air. Where's the puck? It's down here. Get your stick on the ice. I mean, that's just habit. You want an opportunity to get that puck, you got to get your stick on the ice.
At a minimum, he could have gummed up the pass and went right to the right winger who was wide open, Ben Smith.
It's one of those things, Pat. It's a teaching point, and it happens at the highest level. Obviously, we just saw it.
That's a veteran player, you know, and a pretty good, solid defensive player. But
question that we ask always at the youth hockey camps, Pat, is in order to separate that player from the puck, if your stick is up in the air, how close do you have to get to the guy? Well, the answer is you got to be right next to him. But if your stick's on the ice, how close? Well, it depends on how long the stick is, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty common, but force that guy to pass the puck through your stick.
Now, Patrick Canaanite has Shaw in the middle and Saad on the left. As Quenneville again jumbles up a few things, trying to get some offense generated. Jordan Eberle ran into some contact on the boards from Leddy, and back come the Hogs. Patrick Kane gains the line. Saad heading for that, but the pass hit him in the leg. I think he was trying to get it across to Leddy, who was coming late. Yakupov the other way. Now Arcobello hit hard by Shaw. It's held in by Petrie. Here's a long hot pass that deflected away from Eberle. He threw it in front. Yakupov, his stick lifted nicely by Saad. Now Petrie a blast. That never got through. And the Oilers momentarily kept it in. Shaw got rid of it. And the both teams making some changes on the go. And you can see Arcobello with a bell ringer of a hit from Andrew Shaw as the shot attempt deflects out of play.
Well, you mentioned the big hit, and that is our BMO Harris bank check replay, and that timing play for Andrew Shaw on the former Yale Bulldog, Mark Arcobello. He bounced right back up and got back into play.
Oduya looks for Bickle. He rolled it deep. Ferentz chipped it up the boards, held in Hanzus. Now Ferentz is checked, is picked up by Versteeg. Dropped it out to Hjalmarsson. He'll take a long shot. And a save by Dubnyk through a screen provided by Hanzus. Good save by Dubnyk, again allowing no loose change with a screener in front of him.
Full time now, partner, for our Hyundai. What to look for, and last night, Pat, just too many pretty plays. The Hawks not shooting the puck with the opportunities there, so more straight ahead meat and potatoes type of hockey, and the Oilers are a team that are really built on speed. They want to play that good transition game. That's one of the best things that they do, is play that transition game from defense to offense. So limit the speed of the Oilers, and the best defense in the world is to have the puck, not allow them to dictate the pace.
Taves wins a draw. Keith shot it wide. Perron couldn't get it out. Justin Schultz follows up, and now this one is cleared back to center. Hossa steps back in. Perron got to him, was able to take it away. And shot back into Chicago territory. Will it go far enough for icing? Yes. A reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller time later in the game tonight. It'll be brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, Joel Quenneville, you see his work against the Oilers as the Blackhawks head coach. I don't think concern would be the right word, but I mean, there are high expectations here, and Here's a long shot from Keith that's handled easily by Dubnyk. The Hawks have scored 5 goals in their last 3 games, so that's not what they're used to. And we certainly, in the game last night in Montreal, the Canadiens outchanced the Blackhawks, and that's not a typical way for this team to go about things.
Yeah, and they're just in one of those ruts right now, Pat, where the game isn't coming easy. And what I mean by that is the chances that they're getting or the possibilities of an opportunity are being shut off, or they're overpassing like we talked about in our Hyundai what to look for. So I think right now for the Hawks is to simplify your game straight ahead. Less is more. Pucks and people to the net, and then all of a sudden those other plays and confidence will start gaining. I mean, go back to the goal with Hossa scored there last night, Pat, in Montreal. I mean, we both felt it. I mean, you felt the surge coming from the visitors last night in Montreal because they gained some confidence. All of a sudden there was some belief, and they had 3 or 4 really good shifts right after that. So right now they're going through a tough time. I go back to the start of the season, Pat. I think it was a stretch of like 6 or 7 games where the Hawks hadn't scored in the third period. Right? Yeah. They couldn't score in the third period, and it was like, oh, you know, the roof was falling in. I understand, but, you know, right now I think they got to get back to basics, got to get the nose over to puck mentality and work straight ahead.
Taylor Hall, their leading scorer. Good pass to Gagne. He didn't shoot it for some reason. Tried to throw it in front. Picked off Hjalmarsson, who sprawled to the deck to make the block. Then Taves finds Hossa. And the Hawks start back. Oduya throws it deep. Now the Oilers, Gagne rolled it to center ice. Patrick Kane with just 1 assist in his last 6 games. That's a real drought for him, and is what has been an otherwise spectacular season. It's all of a sudden another guy who the offense has been a little bit more sporadic for.
I think Patrick Kane tried to do a lot of things by himself, Pat, now just trying to press and to get his team on the board.
Shaw getting a chance to be his centerman. Tried to feed Saad. The pass, as you saw, broken up. Fell off, cleared it up the board.
Good play by Yakupov there defensively, coming all the way back.
Wow. Dallas Eagles may want to replay that comment you just made. I wonder how many times that's been said this year for Yakupov. Well, the Oilers reorganize as they change. This one dumped into the Blackhawk zone. Ryan Smith unable to pry it out of the corner. Now Bickle takes over. Put it on the stick of Seabrook. He was hit hard but managed to clear the zone. The veteran Smith cleared it ahead. This puck dumped in by Luke Gazdic, and the Oilers change. Here's Bickle, who kicked it toward the middle. That one nearly stolen cleanly. Hawks able to get it back, and Seabrook to Versteeg, who was well covered but managed to get it out of there. Petrie's pass bounced loose, chased down. Hemsky drives, pulled to the backhand, shoots, he scores! What a move, Alex Hemsky, who hadn't scored in quite a while, but able to pull it to the backhand and give the Oilers the lead.
The one thing the Oilers have done early in this game, Pat, and it's going to be an adjustment the Blackhawks are going to need to make, is through the middle of the ice. They're passing the puck through the middle of the ice a lot. They're exploiting the Blackhawks through the middle. Hemsky finds his rolling puck, is to the far outside, and he takes his puck right to the net. And there, Antti Ranta's got to come out there, Pat, and poke check Alex Hemsky. Can't let him bring the puck right through the blue paint there. Now give Hemsky credit. He stayed with it, and the one thing he did too, Pat, is he took the puck to the net. He took the puck right to the middle of the ice and made a beautiful little move there. But when you see a player stick handle through the crease, the responsibility of the goaltenders there is he's got to either come out at that guy and flip him physically, or you got to poke check that puck and go for it and not allow him to go from one side of the net to the other.
I saw the Oilers able to strike first. Here's an icing, calls a pass, misses sharp. Joel Quenneville has talked about the need to chase the game when you fall behind, and the Hawks have enough offense to do that, but there's no coach who likes it, and there's certainly another one.
Yeah, and they know, that being Coach Q and his team, is that the Oilers, one of their deficiencies are defensive play, and they're going to get their opportunities, so you just can't start trying to cheat and open it up and take chances. I mean, it's a long hockey game, and you got to play from behind, and that's the way it is right now.
Sam Gagner, just his third appearance as a winger for the Oilers. He made a couple of passes that wind up back in their own end. Here's Schultz starting back. Dustin Schultz chipped it deep. Arcabello in on Keith. Duncan Keith able to hold the puck. It's cleared loose, and here comes Saad. Brandon Saad into the zone, pulls up, trying to find a trailer. He put a pass behind Keith. Here's Kane down low, looks in front. Saad was well covered. Kane hangs on. Flipped it to the middle. There's Keith with a shot. He missed the net. Great chance for Keith. Good read to jump in open ice, and Patrick Kane, a perfect feed, found him. But Duncan Keith couldn't hit the target. Now it's taken by Seabrook. A long flip shot. Keith goes wide to Seabrook. In behind his side. To Kane. He was checked. And the Oilers able to clear it out. They might have a breakaway. Oh, and a pass just missing Eberle. He was behind everybody, and had he caught the feed, would have been off. Handzus ran out of room at center. And now the Oilers look to start back. Gazdic chipped it deep. Sheldon Brookbank is back in the Hawks lineup. Threw it to the boards. And Bickle settles things down. Brookbank, who's played in only one of the last 6 Hawks games, didn't connect on that pass attempt. A good keep, Leddy. Bouncing puck into the corner. Handzus to Versteeg. He dropped it back. Bickle with a wrist shot. That was blocked. Rebound into the blue paint. And Dubnyk happened to fall on it. I don't think Devan Dubnyk, where the puck had gone, coming off the far post. And all of a sudden, as he fell down, he just happened to fall on top of it. Well, the Oilers have struck first. We're nearly halfway through the opening frame.
Welcome back to United Center up at press level. I'm Tracy Myers for CSNChicago.com. Andrew Shaw talked yesterday about his recent struggles. The Blackhawks forward's known for his energy, but said he hasn't been bringing enough of that lately. And in our Geico quote, Shaw said, "There's more in the tank that I can give, and I just haven't been giving everything. Maybe it's the way I'm focusing in games or the way I'm preparing, but I have to better myself." Pat and Eddie, back to you.
Thank you, Tracy. Well, good start for Andrew Shaw with a couple of big hits, getting his nose over to puck mentality, and best chance of the game, Pat, for the Hawks. Here's Patrick Kane. Watch Duncan Keith get into this soft little area. Spacing, great pass on the backhand. Duncan Keith misses the net by a good 1.5 feet. And here's that opportunity, Pat. The puck's right under. Watch Chris Versteeg get hogtied there by Jeff Petrie. Right part of your screen. Watch this. You talk about holding. I mean, that's 15 yards right there. There you see the reaction from Chris Versteeg.
Yeah, interesting that that got no attention from anybody in stripes, but we're back to the play, and Keith fired it out to center.
The officials were probably trying to find that puck, too, in fairness to them.
Oh, no question.
Trying to not looking over to see the holding or hooking, whatever was going on.
Kane takes it off the end boards, walks to the middle, hangs on. I had a shot blocked. And Petrie cleared it to center ice. The Hemsky goal, he's got the puck now. His goal that started the scoring tonight, he hadn't had a goal in 16 games. But able to get it started for the Oilers. Made a good pass here in front. The shot never got through Nugent Hopkins. It deflects to center, and Kane corrals. Patrick Kane trying to move in. Forced to the boards. As Justin Schultz stayed with him. Now a shot was whiffed on by Oduya. Edmonton starting back. Gagner peels off. Dropped it to Hall. He threw it back. Schultz centered it. Here's a shot by Gagner to save Raanta. Rebounds. And he stopped the second attempt from Hall. Now Ferens keeps it in a long blast. Good save. Raanta with his left pad. And the rebound cleared to center.
Good effort there from Saad at the end of a long shift to make sure that puck got out of the zone.
Now a pass in front. Hall, the shot. Missed the target. The leading scorer for the Oilers unable to find the net that time. Now Toews rolled it ahead. He had his pass picked off, though. Oduya pressured it behind Stolen Hall. Threw it in front, picked off by Toews. And now the Hawks will be able to get out. Toews, who has a 5-game scoring streak. Stop and go move, turns deep, hangs on, centered it. Hossa missed it. Sharp couldn't get rid of a shot. Now tries, and a save by Dubnyk. An awkward stop, but he did make it. And the Oilers' Gagne got checked at center ice. Nick Schultz cleared it. The Hawks dump it right back in. They look to complete a change. Belloff, who completed a Edmonton comeback the other night. They were down 2-0 to Pittsburgh. Came back and beat the Penguins in overtime. That one is ruled icing. But it was Belloff that got the overtime goal, his first. And that was for the Oilers, a team that's won only 15 times so far this year. As uplifting a win as maybe they've had all season long.
Yeah, a real gutsy performance at home, trailing and finding a way to eventually win that game and beat the Penguins on home ice.
Now the draw. Cleared to center. Marcabello spins back. That pass picked off. Keith cleared it ahead. Petrie chasing it down for the Oilers. Jeff Petrie cleared it out. Now Versteeg steps right back in. Looking to center one. Delayed penalty coming up to the Oilers. Here's a Keith Keith. Dropped it to Bickle, put it across. Seabrook cuts in, tried a shot that went wide. And now the Oilers get it, the whistle sounds. And they're going to be short-handed. As the veteran Ryan Smith is going to beat the official to the penalty box.
I know that feeling. Are you or someone you know working with a program or institution that creates a positive impact for our community? Submit a nomination for the CME Group Community Spotlight Fan of the Game. Each Fan of the Game recipient will be awarded 2 Blackhawk tickets and an official Blackhawks replica jersey. As you mentioned, partner, there's Ryan Smith. Not a good penalty on Chris Versteeg if you're the Edmonton Oilers, and here's an opportunity on the power play for the Hawks to get back in this game.
Just 2 goals in the last 5 games for the Blackhawks on the power play. Toews will roll it back to Sharp, then Keith. A long hot pass but never reached Kane. It was deflected by Schultz. Now Toews has got it. Shaw battling front of the net. Kane takes a look. Toews lost it to Ference. And Shaw checked him and regains control. Sharp couldn't get a rolling puck to settle down. Now Toews. Keith's one-timer. That might have hit the leg of Shaw, deflecting wide, and the Oilers able to clear.
Nice movement there. Good rotation. Right idea. And Dubnyk never saw that, Pat, because Andrew Shaw doing his job on the power play.
But Eddie, we mentioned just 2 goals in the last 5 games for the Hawks power play. Maybe as troublesome. They've only had 8 chances. I mean, 8 power plays in 5 games. With a puck possession speed team, you'd like to be getting to more dirty areas and creating a few more hooks and holes.
More support, Pat. I think more support. Less one-on-one play would lead to more opportunities.
All right, 40 for the man advantage as the Hawks change him up. Leddy put it on the stick of Hossa. The birthday boy dropped it back. That's offside. Marian Hossa, 35 years of age today.
Now that's a young hockey player right there. In my world anyway. Yeah. Pat, here's the opportunity. The pass, right? But again, net front presence. Watch where this puck goes. The shot by Duncan Keith. There's Devan Dubnyk. I mean, right there. I mean, that is the right setup different look. Taves was over to the left of Dubnyk. Where was he on that chance? He was on the right. So more movement, good opportunities.
That's 2 offsides on the same power play, which doesn't help things for the man advantage team.
Oh, now what that tells you is you got to shoot the puck in and go get it. Twice now, Pat, they've tried to carry the puck in. Hasn't worked. Okay. So now Edmonton's lining 4 players up, forcing you to make moves at the blue line. And when you get a chance, the puck's got to get in there, and everybody knows you got to go get it.
Hossa has to turn back for this, and now will move away. But as he does, the Hawks, or the Oilers, penalty over both teams. Both tight. Here's Smith just out of the box. Good blocker save by Raanta. Rebound to Bollig. He got checked right away. Both teams at full strength now. As Justin Schultz got the check by Bollig, dumping it back in there. Nick Schultz gets back. Put it up the boards. Bollig. Oh, he took a run and delivered another good check. Here's a long shot. Chalmers. Chip they score! A long shot by Nick Chalmers may have been redirected on the way, but the Hawks have gotten the equalizer. And you got to give credit to Brandon Bollig, delivering a big jolt. And Brandon Bollig in his last 14 games has only been credited with 13 hits. We've talked about it before. He's got to bring that element. This blow leads to a goal.
And he has the ability to be able to be a difference maker right there. Finish your check, force a turnover, and now you have support, Pat. When we talked about support a little while ago, you need it all over the ice. There's the shot, redirected in a high slot. Maybe Ben Smith from that look. But you called it, partner. The hit, the support by Kruger, the shot by Hjalmarsson, and you had somebody in front of the net. And to me, it looks like Ben Smith redirected that puck about 20 feet out in front of Devan Dubnyk.
If that's his goal, would be his 6th of the year, and it certainly didn't look like a redirect from well out in front of Dubnyk.
There's the shot by Hjalmarsson, and yeah, great hand-eye coordination from Ben Smith. Again, you see Devan Dubnyk, he's moving to his right, and then at the last second with the redirect by Ben Smith. Dubnyk looks, but he's already sliding, and there's no chance to be able to make that stop. Great execution by everybody on the ice.
Geloff hit his own man with a long shot attempt, and now the Hawks. Smith rolled it ahead. Bollig flipped it around the board.
That was Gordon, Pat, that took that shot, and he's the guy that won the faceoff. So I could see the thought process for him is going, you know, if I'm going to get hit like that, I'm not going to win that faceoff. They got Hemsky and Bollig having words in front of the Blackhawk bench.
Well, Brandon Bollig not likely to get a point on that goal, but he's certainly a big factor on the play. And look at, I mean, we said up here, it's easy for me to say he hasn't been hitting enough, and you've said it too. Yeah. We're not the guys out there trying to do it, but everybody has a role and a job to try to perform. It's a hard job to execute on a night in and night out basis, but he's got to bring that element to be effective for his team.
He can change the momentum, be a difference maker. Everybody can be a difference maker in certain ways, and Brandon Bollig, we know, can really shoot the puck, but you know, the Hawks aren't counting on Brandon Bollig to be a goal scorer. It'd be a difference maker like on that play, Pat, you picked up. He finished the hit on the right guy, Taylor Hall, and the Hawks got a goal up on the board.
Eberle rolled it back to an open Petrie, put it to Arcobello. His shot into the glove. Raanta was going to go wide, but Raanta handles it anyway and stops the play with 4.5 left in the first. And Ben Smith with some nice hand-eye to score his 6th of the year.
Kennedy Telestrator. There's Jeff Petrie. Look at all of this ice here. Somebody standing in front of the net. But watch what he does. He decides to pass this puck over to Mark Arcobello. Really, there's an opportunity. Again, we talked about it last night in Montreal, Pat. The Hawks had a lot of those similar type of plays last night where there was a lane there. and he decided, you know what, I'm going to bypass it and get it to somebody better. Well, how often do you stand right in the middle of the ice with somebody standing in front of the net where you got an opportunity to get it to the net? Teams defend so well. You can't bypass opportunities to get pucks to the net.
Patrick Sharp moves away to Hossa. Looks to the backhand. A shot and a save by Dubnyk. Rebound just out of the reach of Sharp. And the Oilers come back. Gagne checked at center ice. Taken away to Oduya, who delivered the initial hit. His pass didn't work. The icing race is on, and Taves going to save a whistle. Now Taves working against Barron. Steals. Taves got help from Hjalmarsson. Threw it out in front. That one is picked off. Hall comes back. Taylor Hall to Sam Gagne. Looks back to Hall. And look who got back there defensively. Hjalmarsson, who started the sequence behind the other net. He got back beautifully. Here's Hossa with a shot. And a save rebound. Another save by Dubnyk. Now taken by the Hawks. Seabrook. His hot pass didn't connect. And it's picked off by Petrie. And Petrie tipped it deep. Got to it. Gagne threw it in front. It's picked off by Bickell. In behind Bickell. And it's taken away by Petrie. And the Oilers now start back. Picked up by Seabrook. Versteeg. Into the zone. And the Oilers try to regroup now.
Good hit by Bickell behind the play on Jones after he made that backhand pass across the ice. A couple of the bigger, heavier bodies, Pat, getting involved up front. You mentioned Bowl a couple times. There's a good hit by Bickell. Andrew Shaw with the big hit on Arcobello. Not a big guy, but plays big.
Transmission is up on Will.com side racing station.
Oh, there's Brian Bickell. His dad's in town. Always great to see Mr. Bickell in town. From our Xfinity Telestrator, talk about the good hit, finish check, make a guy pay a price. And Pat, you picked up on it. There's Nicholas Hjalmarsson. 4 on number 4 pass, and look at Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Shot out of a cannon. Denies that opportunity from Sam Gagne over to Taylor Hall. Great work there from the man known as Hammer, Nicholas Hjalmarsson.
Icing Edmondson here.
Well, tonight, join Comcast Sportsnet as we follow bobsled Olympian Asia Evans in a year-long journey of training and competing for her chance to win Olympic gold in Sochi. Quest for gold, Asia Evans, tonight at 9 on Comcast Sportsnet. Always good to have one of these great 6 o'clock starts tonight, partner, at the United Center. But folks, don't forget, next Sunday against the Boston Bruins, an 11:30 a.m. start here at the United Center. Now, well, how would we describe the 11:30? Is that like
I'm going to leave that to you. It's you NBC dudes that are making that happen. All right, here come the Hawks. Kane gains the line, put it in front, shot of the goal. He couldn't quite complete the move to the backhand. Saad dropped it to Keith, a long shot. Dubnyk saw it all the way. Now Kane back to Keith. Here it comes, and it hit a leg out in front.
It's got to be at least the 7th attempted shot by Duncan Keith in his first period, Pat. The puck is finding him in the offensive zone, and when that's happening, you keep finding those areas to get the puck. Eventually, you got to believe one's going to go in or deflect off of somebody. Duncan Keith finding the groove in the offensive zone right now.
Hall put it out, or Everly put it out in front. A shot deflected up high. Now it's cleared over to the other side, and a long shot handled easily by Ranta. Yakupov for the Oilers. Jammed it towards the middle. It's captured by Sharp. And he fires it around the board. Back to center ice. Into the final minute now of the opening period. Jeff Petrie cleared it over to the other side. Now Gagne looks towards Hall, who was behind him. And it's picked up by Hjalmarsson with half a minute to go. Three around for Hall. He tried to clear. Held in Oduya into the glove of Dubnyk.
As we saw on the Oiler goal, Ales Hemsky taking the puck hard to the net, forehand, backhand, right-handed shot coming down the right wing boards. Here comes Andrew Shaw. Just is not able to finish that play off. Forehand, backhand. You take the puck to the net like that, there's a pretty good chance is that somebody's looking to wish you a happy birthday about 6 months early. So you got to have some courage to go to the net. But if you want to score, you got to get to the middle of the ice. And I think Andrew Shaw's had a real strong first period here, Pat.
Hasn't he? I mean, now he's only had 1 goal, no assists over his last 13 games. Well, 13 plus, 13 and a third. But he 31 hits over that time is my point. So he's contributing in other ways, even though it's not showing up on the score sheet. Hemsky opened the scoring for Edmonton. Ben Smith got it back for Chicago. The Hawks out shooting the Oilers 11-7 in the first 20 minutes tonight. A long 16-game drought broken by Hemsky, and then Smith the answer for the Blackhawks.
This period of Blackhawk hockey was brought to you by Chevy. Chevy drives Kane and Taves, and ChevyDriveChicago.com. Visit your Chevy dealer. Blackhawks hockey on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Hyundai. The brain says smart. The heart says gimme, gimme, gimme. Visit buyhyundai.com today. BMO Harris Bank. Get the official BMO Harris Blackhawks debit MasterCard at bmoharris.com/fancard. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach. And by Kia. To learn more, visit mykiachicago.com.
Well, Hawk fans, remember to bring your Blue Cross and Blue Shield card to all Blackhawk home games for a chance to be part of the Blue Cross upgrade experience. Carry the card that gives you benefits wherever you are. Blue Cross, through it all. Welcome back to the United Center. Ones are wild after the first period of play. The Hawks and the Edmonton Oilers. Well, as it happens a lot on game day here at the United Center, the Blackhawks have and entertain youth hockey players all over our great state. And earlier today, the young hockey players, boys and girls from Bloomington, Illinois, were up here. And helping out on the ice are members of the Bloomington Thunder of the Southern Professional Hockey League. And there's my son, Eddie, helping out some of those young hockey players along with his teammates Burke Gallimore, BJ O'Brien, and Tyler Noseworthy. And a great initiative by the Blackhawks and the youth hockey department to bring in teams from all over our great state, Pat, as you know, and whether they're practicing in a clinic or playing games. Andy Cammons, Nick Roca, Pete Hassan do an unbelievable job with the Blackhawk youth hockey department, not only here locally in Chicago, but the suburbs in our state. And great to see those young professional hockey players giving back to the community, and what an opportunity to be here at the United Center.
And that's what was really cool about the whole thing. You were down there by the ice watching all the goings on, and good for young Eddie Olczyk to do a lot of the similar types of things that his dad's been doing for years around here, which is promoting and helping young hockey players get the enjoyment of what this great game can give them. So good for him, good for them. Great for the Blackhawks to, as they do regularly, welcome with open arms all these youth groups that come in here and get a chance to skate on UC ice. That's got to be special for them.
Remember that forever.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple of busfuls coming in, so 50 kids were on the ice. And again, members of the Bloomington Thunder there in the Southern Professional Hockey League in Bloomington. So good luck to those guys the rest of the year. Head coach opportunity to come out and coach these young hockey players.
All right, here's Smith looking to set a quick shot. Might hit the side of the net as a quick one-timer from Kruger didn't seem to hit the target cleanly. Well, the Hawks try to keep control while they make a change. Taves fights his way back in, but had it stripped away. And the Oilers take over.
And the second period of Blackhawk hockey is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And besides everybody here in Chicago.
Here's Nugent Hopkins looking at the center. Oh, and the pass not caught cleanly. Oilers had something going because Jalmerson broke his stick at the blue line. And they took off from there.
Also like to welcome everybody watching in on CSN Northwest.
Ryan Nugent Hopkins carries it. They got a 4-on-2. Here's a pass for Hall back to Hopkins. He shoots. What a save by Runta. Rebound cleared up the boards, and Sharp's got it. Patrick Sharp looks towards Taves, and it's cleared into the Oilers zone. Sharp to the corner. Met there by Marinson, and Sharp won the puck, got it in front. Hosai shot went off a skate to Taylor Hall. He cleared it around the boards. Marinson able to tie up Sharp. Nice there. He was going to steal that pass around the boards. So the Oilers get it out as a result. That kid, Martin Marinson, just 21 years of age, and this just is a 10th ever NHL game. They really like him, though. Steve Smith, who works with the Oilers defenseman, thinks this guy might have a real nice future in the NHL. Here's Kane looking to center with a shot. In and out of the glove of Dubnyk. And then Gagne hacked it up the boards. A good keep, Seabrook. Now Shaw, and then Seabrook, a bouncing puck taken away. Yakupov 2-on-1 the other way. But what a stick from Keith. He broke up the rush attempt. Yakupov gets in, tried to center. It didn't connect. And the Hawks start back. Kane, Saad to Shaw. His shot is gone! Andrew Shaw, who delivered a huge jolt in his first shift of the game, got himself into it, and he scores early in the second to put his team in front.
Pat, you picked up on it, but I think it's important to show it. A 2-on-1 back the other way for the Edmonton Oilers. The stick of Duncan Keith stops the 2-on-1. You don't know what's going to happen from there. The Oilers never got the puck in. But Kane to Saad, and Andrew Shaw goes top shelf. And I think that surprises Devan Dubnyk with the reaction. He was down, and you love the reaction from Andrew Shaw. And that's a big-time goal there with the great pass from Kane to Saad. The shot by Andrew Shaw. And again, go back to that play, Pat, by Duncan Keith. You just don't know what's going to happen if the Oilers are allowed to make that play 2-on-1 to come back all the way down and create a chance.
Well, the terrific D-man breaking up what really should have wound up with a good Edmonton chance. And a few seconds later, his team scores at the other end. And Andrew Shaw, who now has 12 goals this year, a third of them have come against the Oilers. He's got 4 against Edmonton this season. Now the Oilers, Jones, checked by Brookbank. Ryan Jones going to peel it off the boards. Unable to do that. Handzus starts the Hawks back. Here's Leddy gaining the line. Leddy's pass just missed Handzus. And it's taken by Ference. Able to clear to center. Smith turned it over there. Bickle dumped it back in. Going to be picked up. Kruger left it for Hjalmarsson. Smith had it knocked away. Hjalmarsson has to turn quickly. Hemsky in pursuit. He steals. Hemsky's pass, though, broken up by Hjalmarsson. Now the Oilers able to keep it in, but it was knocked down with a high stick, so the whistle stops the play.
Well, this Tuesday, January 14th, the Hawks will take on the Colorado Avalanche and be one of the first 10,000 fans to come inside the United Center, receive a Blackhawks scarf. Presented by the great folks at Private Bank. Visit ChicagoBlackhawks.com for ticket information. A couple of good-looking, happy humans. Hawks with a 2-1 lead. Well, they got to keep lifting up the bills of those hats, partner. They're going to get lost in there.
Kind of shady in here, isn't it? All right, now Bollig tried a shot that was blocked. Kruger to Bollig. He shoots one, and that didn't get through. Smith in deep. Bollig tries again, 3 for $1, and I don't think any one of them was able to get to the target. Smith to Kruger, and his pass was behind Bollig. And Aranta will play it to Seabrook. Here's Smith. Kruger got checked. And a four-man battle along the boards. Squirts loose to Sharp. Tries from a bad angle. It's picked up by Oduya. Sharp's in behind. A wraparound came right through the blue paint. Dubnyk had no idea where it had gone. Kruger was on the other side of the net. Never quite got the puck under control, or he would have had a tap in. Back comes Petrie. Now Nugent Hopkins. Let it taken away to Oduya. Nicholas Chalmerson backhands it up the boards. A good keep by Gagne. Now Nugent Hopkins tried to feed Gagne. Instead it goes to Hall. Taylor Hall taken down, and Sharp sends it out of there. Good shift here for the Oilers. Here's Ferentz right back in. Gagne checked. Hall retrieves. His pass off a skate. Now tried again. Gagne. And his one-timer might have been blocked by Chalmerson. And the rebound cleared back ahead. Here's a chase down by Hossa. Walks in. His shot is blocked. And deflects out of play.
A good opportunity for Patrick Sharp. The wraparound, throws it to the front of the net. Look at Dubnyk. He's looking down, and that puck is already to the right. Dubnyk, watch where this puck is, and then watch where it goes. Look at Dubnyk. He's still looking down. He had no idea, as you mentioned, Pat, where that puck was. Good idea there from Patrick Sharp to get that puck to the front of the net. No hesitation as well. He got it, and he went right to the front of the net with it.
Brookbank around for Kane. Now Saad gets in. His pass deflected. Kane got it back. Kane able to keep it in. Now Shaw from the corner looks for Saad. Landon Saad battles to the middle. He's going to get to the goal. Saad couldn't pull the trigger. Rebound in front. Shaw. Big save by Dubnyk. Turnaround blast from Andrew Shaw. Dubnyk beat him. Now Kane moves in, shooting. Dubnyk held the post. Rebound to the boards. And the Oilers will clear the zone. Will it go far enough? No icing. Leddy's got to play it. Here's Bickle getting in. His shot is blocked. And Bickle taken away by Smith. Around to Nick Schultz. Versteeg steals it. Now it's chased down by Jones. And he'll hoist a backhander the other way. Chalmerson will have to play it. Bickle for Chalmerson. Rolled it ahead. Here's Versteeg with a little space. Shooting one. And he missed the net. Rebound taken by Handzus. His shot is stopped by Dubnyk. In behind. A pass from Versteeg goes off the skate. And Gazdic the other way. And what? Duncan Keith again in the passing lane. Just a couple of feet from where he broke up. Another nice rush attempt. Seabrook tried to get into the goal. Not much on it. And the Hawks look to keep the heat on. Here's a pass in front, a shot from Smith, deflected wide. Now Smith, grabbed by Schultz, but Smith held on to it. Then Kruger would not get it out in front. Smith takes over. And Smith to Duncan Keith along with missed the net. Rebound is in behind. Kruger came out with it. Centered it. Keith, and his shot hit his own man, I believe, in front of the net. And the Oilers, trying to relieve the pressure, will happily accept an icing. So a great shift there for the Hawks' fourth line, which followed up a previous shift that was pretty good also.
These guys are out of gas for the Edmonton Oilers. If I'm Dallas Eakins, the head coach of the Oilers, I got to use a timeout here. I almost thought there, Pat, here's that opportunity, Kruger to Duncan Keith, and I don't know if it went off of Schultz or Ben Smith in front of the net. But in that situation there, Pat, if I was Antti Raanta in coaching over the years is when you know you have a team on the run and they ice the puck, especially in the long change in that second period, you tell your goaltender, play that puck. Don't let those guys come off the ice. Get out there, play it, move it up, and keep those guys on the ice. Now, again, that's a set play. You got to remind your goaltender of that. If you can play that puck and get out and not let them get off, you got a good chance, because the Hawks could have had 3 full changes on there, Pat. They could have against 3 or 4 guys out there. So great shift, though. A great shift there for the fourth line. And again, Duncan Keith, you picked it up again, Pat. Great stick to allow that pressure to happen.
Hawks win a draw. Hjalmarsson threw it around the boards, and Dubnyk's stick got in the skates of Shaw, but we play on. Hemsky got it as far as the blue line. Oilers trying to get a few fresh bodies out there, and they do. Here's Hemsky having it taken away. And Shaw, a long pass ahead, just out of the reach of Saad. He gets together with Petrie in behind, and Saad came up with a puck. Across, it never reached Kane. Nugent Hopkins cleared the zone.
It's up somebody's pants.
And now that it was
right up the
pants of Nugent Hopkins. And the referee lost sight of the puck, so he had to stop the play.
Better get a seamstress. Time now for our GMC professional grade save, and there's the opportunity for Andrew Shaw. It was all started because of the good power move by Brandon Saad. You see the puck hit the right inside of the pad of Devan Dubnyk. Even when he's down, Pat, like that, he still takes up like 77% of the net.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Standing 6'6", and is he one of those guys that you're thinking elevate when you get a chance on him?
I think it's right away, Pat, or it is you got to wait, because majority of the goaltenders go down. So I think there's a lot of room in between the legs as well. So if you can hold on to it, wait a second longer, think between the legs, the 5-hole.
Now the puck picked up by Taves. Around to check, walks in, shoots, Dubnyk, good save. And the rebound to Nugent Hopkins. On to pass it to himself off the boards against the forward Sharp. And Patrick Sharp had a great read on that, turned quickly and got the puck out. Now Schultz ahead for Hall. Taylor Hall to Sam Gagner, back to Hall. Looking to center, good stick by Runta, broke up the pass. And Kane comes back. He's going to draw a penalty. Kane gets the line, a mishandle. Will bring on a whistle, and the Hawks will get their second power play chance of the night.
Well, Taylor Hall in the box, and go back to the opportunity for Jonathan Taves up high around the mask of Devan Dubnyk. And highlight the play here by Patrick Sharp. You mentioned, Pat, Nugent Hopkins trying to pass the puck to himself. Good defensive play by Sharp, the forward, playing D, and Hawks on the power play.
Board battle here, and Taves won the puck. Now Sharp's got it, and he shot it. Oh, and he had Dubnyk ducking out of the way of a high, hard one. And the Oilers able to clear it. Now Kane, who assisted on the second Hawks goal, got it to Keith. Now Kane on the boards. Taves tried to center Sean, but knocked down. Loose puck in front of whack by Sean, and went just wide. Rebound back to Keith. Keith looks across to Sharp. Here's a shot attempt, and a penalty coming up against the Oilers again. Hawks, oh, now this puck, if it goes into the net, it's going to be a good goal, and it is! The Hawks have scored on their own vacated net with a delayed penalty to be called.
The delayed call was on the goaltender, Devan Dubnyk, Pat, for slashing Andrew Shaw. And now the referees are trying to figure out who was the last one to touch the puck for the Edmonton Oilers. There's the slash. That's the penalty. Delayed call. Raanta leaves for the net. And the Hawks move this puck around. Patrick Kane tries to bounce this puck back to a defenseman, and it goes right off the boards. And you see the reaction from Patrick Kane, Pat. Puts his hand on his helmet.
They thought he had a point man there, and when there wasn't, School was out. But now the Oilers, having just been given credit for a short-handed goal to tie the game, they're going to be 2 men short for almost a minute. The officials, you can see, still trying to figure out who did touch the net. It's the last Oiler to have touched the puck before the Hawks put it in their own net that should get credit for this.
I don't know if it was Dubnyk, Pat, that may have had the stick after the shot, the initial shot, when Jonathan Toews tried to jam the puck into the net, and then it went from Toews to Kane, but the Hawks give up a short-handed goal, but now they get an opportunity 5-on-3 for over 50 seconds.
All right, Keith to Kane. He had it knocked loose. Petrie spins to his forehand, and the clear. What a keep by Keith. That allows the 5-on-3 to get set up. Toews to the front of the net. Kane looks back to Hossa. Hossa's one-timer. Scores! A birthday bullet for 35-year-old Marian Hossa. And on the two-man advantage, the Hawks back in front.
Pat, the opportunity for the Edmonton Oilers to get the puck out, but again, watch the play by Duncan Keith to keep this play alive. He finds a way to keep it alive on the backhand. And now the rest is history. He puts this on a tee to Big Hoss, and he goes top shelf on Devan Dubnyk. No chance for the goaltender, and a reaction from Marian Hossa. 2 goals in 2 games. And another outstanding play by the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, Duncan Keith, to keep that play alive.
And now the Hawks with a one-man advantage for another 75. Smith from the corner. Couldn't advance it. And a good keep by Seabrook. To Leddy. Nick Leddy moves down low. His pass jumped away to Hossa. Looking down to Versteeg. He was checked, or at least he lost it. And Petrie with time here to take a look. And that keep by Keith that you referenced. And he was Petrie, who had the puck on it, spun to his forehand, had time, and he got a lot on it. And what a great keep in, leading to a goal. Here's a centering pass. Sharp trying to muscle it home and dribble just wide. Sharp to Kane. Leddy, or I should say Seabrook's one-timer is blocked. And to bounce back the other way. Half a minute for the Hawks power play. Kane steps back in. Brings it around for Toews. Kane. Now Patrick Kane for Toews in behind. Spins it back to Oduya. Then Keith. Oduya. Kane's one-timer. Pad save by Dubnyk. Rebounded Nick Schultz. He's checked. Ryan Jones picked it up and dribbled it out of the zone. The Oiler penalty over. Both teams at full strength, and the Hawks are offside here. 6.5 remain in the second period. A very eventful power play. A short-handed goal for the Oilers. A power play goal for the Hawks.
Well, another outstanding night for number 2. Duncan Keith had a real strong first period. 6 attempts at the net. Real active offensively, but where Duncan Keith's at his best, Pat, is when he's reading the play and not writing it. That's a great defensive play. And how about that keep on the backhand? Right before the goal by Marian Hossa, puts it on a tee, and Big Hoss has got it in his wheelhouse. But again, you don't realize how hard it is to make that type of a play as you're skating backwards and the puck is on your backhand, is that you have to bring your stick in an unnatural position, put it over to the side, keep the puck alive, and have the skating ability to settle it back down. And he knew how much time he had, Pat. He knew that the Oilers only had 3 players on the ice. Get into the area and make the great play. I mean, we just saw 2 really solid defensive plays that are direct leads to Blackhawk goals. 2 of the 3 goals.
Yeah. All right, now a near steal by Hossa, but the Oilers' Eberle comes out. Left it for Hall. Taylor Hall to Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and Eberle for Hall. A one-timer, partial block by Hossa. And the rebound cleared away. Here comes Toews. Jonathan Toews trying to dance on Ferentz, but the puck rolled right to Dubnyk, who covers.
Well, time now for our Illinois Lottery Anything's Possible flashback. And how about last night in Newark, New Jersey? That's Shaq driving the Zamboni at the Rock. Newark native and dropping the ceremonial face-off. And look at that jersey, partner. That's Alexei Ponikarovsky's jersey. I think it's the only one would fit Shaq. I think if Lou Lamoriello, the longtime president and general manager, was looking for a center iceman, I think he just found one there in Shaq.
That is a large human. Wow.
Pat, I got to tell you, when I was playing in LA back in '96, we shared some space with the with the Lakers in the Forum.
Yeah.
And one of his shoes was laying around. Ray Ferraro, terrific analyst for TSN up in Canada, actually put the shoe on his head and wore it as a hat. That's how big the shoe was.
Did you ever have any contact with him? Or?
Just once or twice at some fundraisers, but yeah, but just driving the Zamboni. Better duck when you're going under the Jumbotron there.
All right, here's Perron in for the Oilers. Arcabello, his shot blocker aside by Ronson. By the way, it was Arcabello who was given credit for that shorthanded goal the Hawks put in their own net. He's ruled to have been the last man to touch it for the Oilers. Saad took a run at Yakupov, wound up on the deck. And now the Hawks start back. Seabrook dumped it in.
Landed right on his back, too.
Stays on the ice, which is a good sign. But as you point out, that could be a real awkward fall. Shot off the side by Kane. And Eberle starts back to Yakupov. The move would have forced everybody offside, so Nail Yakupov has to spin back. Now the Oilers will dump it. Leddy put it up the board. Bickle coming on a change. Corrals to Versteeg. Chris Versteeg in this handle put himself offside. 4 minutes remaining in the second period. The Hawks in front of the Oilers by 1.
Time now for our Kia drive to the net. And the number 1 line, for the most part, for the Edmonton Oilers has been really their offense. When you look at Hall, Nugent Hopkins, and Eberle.
Right now, Sharp creating a little pressure, and the puck fought for in the corner. Taken by Oduya. His long blast is seen all the way by Devin Dubnyk. But I mentioned a moment ago, when the Hawks scored on their own net, a bank pass that didn't work wound up into an open goal when the Oilers were going to get a delayed penalty, so Ranta left the net. The Hawks put it into their own net. The original announcement was Mark Arcobello. They changed that to Boyd Gordon, so the veteran Gordon will be given credit for a shorthanded tally. You can tell the grandkids you went coast to coast for the whole team on that one.
Hey, I told this story before, Pat, but I know exactly what that feeling for Patrick Kane is when you shoot the puck in your own net. It just happens. It happened when I played in Winnipeg.
Keith got a man down, lets it go, the tip, and it seemed to hit a leg out in front. And the Oilers able to clear it. Gagne, a backhand shot. Runta gave a rebound, but that wound up in the corner.
Beaten a little bit, too. There was some room on that short side. The difference between mine and Kane's scoring on my own goal. I had a goalie on mine.
Your goalie was in. Here's a bowling, and he could not get rid of a shot. Good recovery by Petrie. And now the Oilers come away. Hemsky cleared it into the zone, knocked away from Marincin, and now back come the Oilers. Perron had a shot right on. Good save by Runta. And then it's captured by Seabrook. We're getting near the end of the second period here, and the Oilers have been credited so far with only 12 shots on goal. So real solid effort so far for the home side. Here comes Sharp getting in, looking to center right in. It's Taves. He scored! An unselfish play by Patrick Sharp. He set up Jonathan Taves, who's deep beautifully, tucked at 5-hole. It's 4-2.
Pat, this is really amazing. I'm not going to believe where this play started again in the defensive play and who made it. Give you one guess.
I think he wears two.
You got it. Watch this play. Again, in his own zone. Right there. And the Hawks are out of the zone. Hossa to Sharp to Jonathan Taves. And watch this. How do you do? Thank you very much. Between the legs of Devan Dubnyk. But the ability, again, to shut down offensive plays by Duncan Keith. That's the third time now he's made a defensive play, and less than 10 seconds later, the puck has ended up in the back of the net.
Now Kane fights towards the middle, put it to Leddy, right, and he shoots. And a save by Dubnyk. And it winds up back at center. So Jonathan Taves scores his 17th of the year. That extends a point streak to 6 in a row. Here's a chance for Leddy. Put it to Shaw, who shot his glove by Dubnyk.
Just a great move by Jonathan Taves. Sharp did a great job of avoiding the back pressure, gets it over to the captain. Looks like he's going one way, and at the last second, he just cuts right back. We talked about it earlier, Pat, on Dubnyk. Get him moving side to side. There's some maneuverability and open area between the legs. And where does Taves go? Right between the legs. Makes no mistake. And to be able to make that type of play in a small area just speaks to the skill level of the captain. That's just a great goal, traveling at a high rate of speed.
Here's a long shot from Seabrook that Dubnyk is able to handle. And by the way, Eddie, on that power play goal that Hossa scored, they've added an assist now to Patrick Kane. That's his second assist of the game, which makes it his 17th multiple point game of the season. This is the 48th game, 17 multiple point outings for 88.
Love that home cooking.
Perron put it in. Petrie drives and shoots into the glove of Runta, and he lost it, but Seabrook right there. And here comes for Steve. Trying to change quickly. Oilers looking to catch him in that. A long pass finds Perron. Battles towards the middle. Shoots one. And hit the leg of Chalmerson out in front. Kruger got checked. Going to be a penalty coming up to the Blackhawks. Kruger knows it's him. You could see his anger when he slapped the puck back to the corner. And the Oilers are going to get their first man advantage of the night.
Well, it's going to end up being a hook on Marcus Kruger right there around the hands. Right call made. A big 55.7 seconds remaining here in the second period.
Well, the Blackhawks PK was great a couple of times last night in Montreal, and they've had a pretty decent run here of late. Last 10 games, only 3 goals against. Shorthanded just 25 times over those 10, but only 3 have been converted. Here come the Oilers with the power play, on which they've scored 3 in their last 3 outings. Nugent Hopkins takes a look. Now Hall. Around for Nugent Hopkins. He had 3 points in that victory we told you about over the Penguins the other night. Nugent Hopkins jammed it loose. Hjalmarsson got there, couldn't clear it. Gagne rings it around. He wants Eberle on this side. 10 left. Here's a pass over. Nugent Hopkins takes a look. Now tried to center, that deflects. And the Oilers aren't going to get the puck to the net. Here's a long attempt. Blocked by Handzus as he skids in front and deflected out of play. The Oilers with a lot of zone time and not one shot attempt against Raanta.
Looked like they were looking for the most perfect shot and getting the last shot of the period instead of looking for more quantity. And a great effort there by Michael Handzus late.
A 19-shot period for the Hawks. They outshoot them 19-6. It's 30-13 in the game. It was 1-1 coming in. Andrew Shaw put the Hawks in front. Then the Oilers got an empty net shorthander and a Hawks miscue. Hossa got that back with a 2-man advantage, and then Taves made it a 2-goal lead.
This period of Blackhawk hockey was brought to you by Toyota. Elevate your style with the 2014 Toyota Corolla. Toyota. Blackhawks hockey on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Do you believe in the power of possibility? The Illinois Lottery. Anything's possible. And by Toyota. Elevate your style with the 2014 Toyota Corolla. Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back to the United Center, where the Blackhawks will take a 2-goal lead into period 3. Assistant coach Jamie Kompon has a headset on for us. Jamie, we've been sitting up here marveling at the play of Duncan Keith, particularly tonight. His ability to read, break up plays. I mean, 3 times he's broken up plays. 10 seconds later, it's in the back of the other net. Can you talk to us a little bit about that ability that he has? When's the right time to do it? Is it all about reading and reacting? When do you step up? When do you back off?
Well, I think the big thing with him is he's got such great skating skills. His mobility is unbelievable because of the fact that he can have that tight gap. And when we do have protection with that F3 depth, he can go and he reads so well in terms of picking those plays off and reading the situation, because our F3 depth, our gap guy, he's coming back soft walking, and he can read the situation and where the puck's going. And now we want those quick ups. We want to get through that neutral zone clean, and we're on the attack again.
Hey, Jamie, we got a lot of young hockey players out there and coaches. The importance of having a good stick. Seen a lot of guys over the years. I mean, there aren't many guys better with a better stick than Duncan Keith. You just talk about that from a coaching technique of having such a good stick as a defenseman.
Well, it's such a great tool, and people just take it for granted. Young kids, you know, from young kids to NHL players, we got to keep reminding them: lead with your stick, stick on the ice, stick on the ice. Don't slap the stick. You got to have stick on puck, and that's the biggest thing. You know, Dunks always has his stick on the ice. He breaks up plays. He goes into puck areas. You know, he's not overly physical, but he goes into puck areas, leads with his stick on puck, and then we're transitioning the other way.
All right, so far so good for the first 40. Good luck here in the third.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, guys.
That was very nice, by the way. We did that in harmony.
Brilliant.
I feel like the 4 tops right now.
I'm trying to add that up. There's only 2 of us. Well, we have one more. It'd be 3 of us.
Loggins and Messina? I don't know who. Oilers with a power play to open up the third, and the Hawks able to clear it right away.
And the third period of Blackhawk hockey is brought to you by Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, and welcome all those of you watching on CSN Northwest.
Hall tipped it to Nugent Hopkins. It jumped away from him. Taves able to get it out. Here he comes with Hossa. Taves looking to drive shorthanded. Now the shot, and a kick save by Dubnyk. Jordan Eberle steps into the Hawk zone, flipped it to Hall. Now Nugent Hopkins dropped it to Justin Schultz. He put it across. Eberle to Schultz. Nugent Hopkins tried a shot. That was blocked. Chased down by Seabrook. The Oilers really slow to react to that loose puck. Seabrook got it to Smith. He walks it, shoots, and a save by Dubnyk. And the Hawks penalty over both teams at full strength. Aronson rings it around the board. And now Patrick Kane. And here comes Sharp. Sharp pulls up, his pass stolen. Now they bank it ahead for Perron. He looks into the zone. Perron centered one. Here's a cut. That was fired wide by Arcobello. Aronson tried along with blocked by Taves. And the race to center. Aronson able to tie up the stick of Kane. Arcobello the other way to Perron. Arcobello carried on. Now Perron from the corner. He is forced all the way back to center ice. Boyd Gordon cleared it ahead. Here's a blast by Gantz. It comes off the end board. Good reaction by Antti Raanta. Made the initial stop but kept his eye on the puck, and when it took a hot bounce right back toward him. Could have been trouble, but he soaked it up.
Couple of good looks here in the first 2 minutes of the third period. Great ability there by Brent Smith to stay with that puck, create the chance, and there you see Jonathan Taves getting the puck in behind Justin Schultz. Watch him protect the puck right there, and he gets it right back. And a good stop there from Devin Dubnyk. Captain with a real strong game here tonight against the Oilers.
Here's Keith. Flipping it out to center. Barons broke it up. Now they get in. Justin Schultz's pass deflecting to Marcus Kruger. Kruger into the zone. Tried to slip it in front. That didn't get there.
Got to shoot that puck.
Keith, a good Keith. Now into the corner it goes. Bollig looks to Smith. And Smith lost it. And Justin Schultz starts back. The Oilers peel off to change as Seabrook retrieves. Back goes Nick Schultz for the Oilers. Hemsky is tied up at center. Now able to battle it deep into Chicago ice. Hjalmarsson there. Taves cleared into the Oiler end. And there's Beloff for Edmonton. Arcobello taken away by Oduya. To Brookbank. Now Taves. Looks to Hossa. The pass just missed him. Marian Hossa, by the way, with a goal and an assist in the game, is a +1 so far tonight. That puts him at +24 for the year. And with Henrik play tonight, +24 led the league. Depending on what else is happening around the NHL, he may lead in that category. As a big scrum happens right at the side of the goal. Oilers trying to pry it loose. Perron drawing the attention of Shaw. Oh, Marian Hossa, we mentioned with a goal and an assist. That's 3 goals the last 5 games. He had gone quite a while, as we pointed out last night, without a lot of lamplighting himself, but when you talk about the list of two-way players, I mean,
yeah, he's on the short list.
If any are ahead of him, it's not a very long list.
Well, the skating ability, and you heard assistant coach Jamie Compound talk about the stick of Duncan Keith, and you could certainly say those same things with a guy like Marian Hossa. Very rarely he ever skates around the ice with a stick above his waist, always forcing defensemen into very few options, and that's the one thing I marvel at. I think they might be checking to see if that puck maybe crossed the goal line at any point there. That last scramble around Antti Raanta. But just finishing up the thought on Hossa is that very few players, Pat, get in on a forecheck and maybe take away every option a puck carrier has when they're exiting the zone. And Marian Hossa has that ability because of his skating ability, knowing where the options are for that puck carrier and be able to shut them off. And all of a sudden the guy thinks he has 3 options. Next thing you know, with Hossa on the ice or coming at him, he's looking at -1. I don't have any. I better know that I got to get on the defensive side because he's going to take it from me.
Take a look at some of what they're looking at in the war room in Toronto.
Top of your screen, there's Antti Raanta kicks that puck, and good battle there from the Hawks to help out their goaltender.
So it remains 4-2. And the draw picked up by Kruger. Marcus Kruger dropped it to Seabrook. A long shot soaked up by Dubnyk. Good save with no rebound. A couple of red sweaters in the neighborhood, but Dubnyk gave him nothing.
Nice play there from Kruger to Seabrook. Oh, Friday. This Friday, January 17th, the Hawks will take on the Anaheim Ducks. Be one of the first 10,000 fans to enter the United Center to receive an Andrew Shaw bobblehead. Presented by Mesero Financial. Visit ChicagoBlackhawks.com for ticket info.
Hey, we saw that look from him tonight. He scored a goal early in the second, and
kind of like that when I go home. When the lovely and talented Diana Olczyk talks to me, I'm like a bobblehead. Just yes.
That's why you've lasted so long.
I do want to give a shout out, Pat, to my dad, who's a little bit under the weather and on the road to recovery. So wish my dad all the best. And there's Andrew Shaw. That'd be a nice looking bobblehead there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Ed Senior, hope you're feeling well. Had a little surgery a week or so ago, and I'm sure on the mend, and won't be very much longer before he's on the first tee. Hemsky throws it across to Hall. Now the puck stolen by the Oilers. Here's a pass in front. Schultz showing the play. Good pass to Hall. That was a tap-in goal. Justin Schultz, a terrific setup to Taylor Hall. He had an easy tap-in, and the Oilers back within 1.
Defensive zone coverage. It's all about stopping and starting. You got too many guys that are circling, and what ends up happening when you circle, it opens up passing lanes. You don't stop and start, plays like that are going to happen. Doesn't take a whole heck of a lot, but what a pass there by Schultz right to Taylor Hall. He's got an absolutely wide open net and just barely beats the stick of Raanta sliding back. But again, if you're not stopping and starting, leading with your stick, players at this level are going to pass the puck right through you or past you, and the puck's going to end up in your net.
Now Petrie goes across. A long shot. Marincin, that deflected just wide. And Saad able to hoist it out of there. He's going to be icing Edmonton.
Well, tonight at 10 o'clock, stick around for Sportsnet Central, presented by GMC on the show. We'll have highlights and post-game reaction from the NFL divisional playoffs and much more from the game here tonight. Luke Stuckmeyer will have a post-game report. Don't miss Sportsnet Central tonight at 10, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Here's Arcabello moving in, shooting. He missed the target. Now they work in the corner, and Hawks able to come away. Brandon Saad able to battle his way into zone around Petrie, trying to center a shot. What a save! save by Dubnyk. Great rush by Saad. It gave a chance to Shaw, and somehow Dubnyk made a spectacular point-blank save. But the Hawks will head to the power play after that rush. They're up 1.
As we take a look from our captain, Morgan RoboCam. Andrew Shaw going hard at it. Great effort here from Brandon Saad to move this puck all the way over, and actually draws a penalty here, Andrew Shaw, by Mark Gabello, and he's in the box. Andrew Shaw's had a strong game here tonight. A real strong game by number 65.
Well, the Oilers able to win a draw, so Petrie will hammer it the other way. Hawks have a power play goal tonight. That was with a 2-man advantage. They're 1 out of 3 so far in the game.
Let's Seabrook out here with Keith, Pat, to start this power play.
Kane. Keith to Kane. Around to check, walks right in. Now a backhand shot. Dubnyk somehow made a save. What a spectacular sequence from Kane. And Dubnyk able to fight it off.
Petrie thought he was going to shoot the puck. Respected that shot. And he walked right around him.
And Oilers steal, and a good save made by Runta. Able to deny Nugent Hopkins. Back comes Saad. Now Hossa with 2 points tonight. Hossa takes a look. To Versteeg. He had to drop it back. Leddy across to Oduya. No Sharp on this power play yet. There's a Saad going back to Leddy. Nick Leddy hangs on. Centered one. Saad couldn't get his stick loose enough to pull the trigger. Nugent Hopkins able to backhand it the other way. Now down to half a minute for the Hawks power play. Here comes Kane. Brings it around for Sharp. He got checked. Oilers able to clear it. Now Perron racing it down. David Perron with a backhand shot, missing the net.
After Perron took that shot there, Patty, get a little slash at Antti Raanta as he went by the net. It wasn't Perron the guy who took a run at it to Johnny Oduya the last time that the Hawks were in Edmonton?
Twice.
At the end of the game.
Here's a shot blocked from Perron. Now Keith able to settle things down.
Real interesting here, Pat, that Joel Quenneville went to a safer look on the power play with no forward on the point.
Kruger's shot never got to the net. Oduya tries. That missed the target. Bounced all the way back to Eberle. Hjalmarsson stays right with him. That's an offside play.
Usually you see Patrick Sharp, as you mentioned, Pat. Hadn't seen him the first 2 rotations on this power play, and there's that beautiful move from Patrick Kane again, selling the shot. Walks right around Jeff Petrie, gets in a little bit too tight and isn't able to get that elevation. Look at the mask there. Look at the stick of Patrick Kane get caught in the mask of Devan Dubnyk. Almost just picked it right off his head. We saw defensemen on both of every one of those units. I think we saw 4 different units there, Pat, on the 2 minutes. So safety shown there by Coach Q.
Smith walks in with a shot, missing the mark. Oduya centered one. A redirect went wide off of Smith. Hjalmarsson tries a long one into the glove of Dubnyk.
Well, it's a new year, but you can still relive the 2013 Stanley Cup Championship with 1 goal to the inside story, the Chicago Blackhawks dream season. From the streak to the banner raising and all the excitement in between. Each book includes a copy of Blackhawks TV Championship DVD, 17 seconds. Buy your copy today at all Blackhawks store locations. For more info, visit ChicagoBlackhawks.com.
Here's Brookbank. His rink wide picked off. Hemsky the other way. Throws it deep. Hacked right through the slot area by Yakupov, but the Hawks now have Handzus. And it's dumped into the Oilers' zone. Versteeg came off the boards, dropped it to Brookbank. Then Handzus. Bickell trying to get to the middle. He did. He could get his stick free away from Arcobello, but he still got the puck. Bickell, a long wrist shot, is blocked out in front of the net, and a penalty coming up as Handzus was trying to chase down Petrie. And it looked like it might be Devan Dubnyk with the hauling down of Handzus.
Yeah, right there. Good shift there for Brian Bickell. Circling the wagons, buying some time, shaking off the defense, and not a good penalty there from the goaltender.
Taves wins a draw. Again, 2 defensemen on the points here to open this power play. Keith looks across to Seabrook. He'll tee it up for a blast. It's blocked out of a rebound. Deflected wide. Taken by Sharp. Now Keith to Sharp. Goes down low to Taves. Dropped it back to Keith. Again, the captain. Keith's one-timer. And Dubnyk had a good look at that.
Somebody's got to get in front of the net there. Patrick Sharp standing off to the side of the net. Taves works himself up there. You got to know when that puck is going to have an opportunity at getting to the net. Easy save for Devan Dubnyk.
So still 90 seconds of power play time here for Chicago. And again, as with the last power play, first 2 rotations have 2 defensemen as the point men, which ordinarily Sharp assumes one of those spots. Here comes Oduya back to Leddy. Now Johnny Oduya was checked by Nugent Hopkins, and the Oilers able to clear.
I'm a little bit surprised, Pat, that they've gone away from the #1 unit. I mean, that's playing safe, really, when you think about it, especially when you go to that first unit. You don't have Sharp on the ice, and you go ahead with Seabrook and Keith on the back end.
Loose puck for Saad. He couldn't pull the trigger. Held in beautifully by Seabrook. Now a shot by Saad and stopped by Dubnyk. Rebound loose to Hossa. Seabrook kicks to the stick to Leddy. Lets it go. Good save by Dubnyk through a Saad screen. And the Oilers then clear.
He's made a couple of real good stops.
A mishandle by Runta nearly cost him, but Jones couldn't get it all the way out in front. And the Hawks look to move back. Here comes Patrick Kane. Going to ring it around hoping for Sharp, but he's not going to get there, and the Oilers will clear it easily. And that's going to finish the Edmonton penalty. Sharp stripped of it by Taylor Hall. Both teams now are at full strength. Back in Taves to the middle, to the backhand. He shoots. Makes the save. Rebound to the Oilers.
Wow, what a move.
And Hemsky the other way. Lost it as he got to the line. East long pass missing. Sharp going to be icing Chicago. Well, Jonathan Taves scored earlier this game on a very similar opportunity.
Oh, don't feel too bad, young man. That's going to happen to you when you're playing against one of the best players in the entire world. And it's the second time now we've seen Jonathan Taves in that same area of the ice, Pat, come down and make a quick move and go around a defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers.
Joel Quenneville will utilize his timeout after that icing call, so that brings us to the KFC fan cam. $21,424, the announced crowd here tonight on West Madison Street.
The chances we got a shot with somebody having some soft serve ice cream tonight.
As long as you mention it to Bulldog, it's gonna happen.
Attaboy, DT. Good time out there by Coach Q. Give your guys an opportunity to breathe a little bit. Just go over your assignments again.
All right, so Toews and Gagne for the draw. There you go.
There's the guy.
Toews wins it. The clearing attempt by Brookbank didn't touch anybody, though, so they'll have to do it again. Take a look at the ANA Airlines upcoming schedule. Hawks beginning a week-long homestand tonight. Tuesday, a good team in Colorado coming in. Friday, a better team in Anaheim coming in. And next Sunday, a rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals from last spring.
Big win last night for the Bruins on their road trip. Win in San Jose, 1-0.
Yeah, didn't give up a goal. Now an Oiler keep by Hemsky. He's got a goal and assist tonight. Couldn't make anything happen here. And Sharp gets the other way. Hawks in need of a change. Will get it in, get off. Andrew Ference back ahead for Edmonton. Schultz's pass didn't work. Picked up by Bolig to Smith. Lost it as he approached the blue line.
Nice effort there by Hall on the back check.
7 minutes remaining in the third period. 4-3 in favor of the Hawks. Kruger put it in front. Here's a Smith shot up off the glass. Rebound came back up almost over top of the net, but hit the backside and stayed in behind. Now Perron hacked it towards the middle. Petrie in deep. Jeff Petrie. Put it across. There's Marincin going to the other side. Here's a centering pass. Tip. Good save by Ronson to redirect Perron. And then it's knocked away from Perron out to the line. Kept by Petrie. Kruger takes it back. Got it to Bolig. Pushing it ahead. The Hawks in need of a change. Here's Ryan Smith getting back in. Eberle out of the corner. His pass stolen by Kane. Patrick Kane into the Oilers zone, right around Yakupov. Now walks in and shoots. In and out of the glove of Dubnyk. Picked up Shaw. Out in front to Keith. He waits. He wires and missed the net. A good keep by Seabrook. His long wrister. He's gone! A redirected appeared again out in front of Devan Dubnyk. And the Hawks, for the third straight time against the Oilers, have scored 5 goals. They lead by 2.
Pat, earlier on this shift, Jordan Eberle got hurt at the other end. The guy that comes on the ice is David Perron. He was on the ice before that, so, I mean, he didn't sit on that bench probably for more than 12 seconds. He came back on the ice, he turns the puck over, and the guy that eventually shoots the puck, I believe, is going to get credit for this goal because it looks like it goes off an Oiler right in front, or maybe it off the stick of Andrew Shaw. But again, David Perron jumped on the ice for Jordan Eberle. Now, was he told to go, or did he just realize that Eberle was slow coming off, that somebody better go for him because nobody else was watching him? But he had a long back-to-back shift there.
And the Hawks back up by a pair. Here's Sharp centering. Hossa with a whack. That went wide. And Marian Hossa works it out of the corner. Back to Chalmerson. A long clip shot. Just missing the target. And then a board battle has 6 guys in there. Toews came out with it. He got checked by Petrie. And then Hall, with help, got it out. And Oilers both changing as it's dumped back in there. Smith cleared the Edmonton end. Chris Versteeg put it back in. Handzus winds it around. Versteeg. Left it for Bickle. Oiler player lost his stick, allowing Bickle to walk right out. And a second straight night, he beats the goalie, hits the goalpost. He did that late in the third period last night. He does it late in the third period this evening again. Now cleared in behind Arcobello. Centered one. Here's a quick shot. Well wide from Belloff. Letty got wrapped up in the corner. Oilers digging loose. Here's Perron. Oh, that hit the headgear. It sounded like it hit Aranta right in the melon. As Yakupov managed to clear it. 3:33 to go in the third period. 5-3 in favor of the home team. As it's dumped back into Chicago ice, Seabrook with it. And Smith bangs it the other way. Belloff moved it ahead. Gagne put it into the Hawk zone. Pass in front. Yakupov couldn't settle it down. Belloff brings it around. Seabrook looking for Smith. It came back to Seabrook, and he finds his partner. Now it deflected. Picked up by Kruger. Movement in center. Oh, and a pass deflected. Just jumped over Hosa's stick. Hosa across for Sharp. His wrister into the glove of Dubnyk, who will hold with 2.5 remaining. And the Blackhawks up by 3 after an Andrew Shaw redirect gave them their 5th goal. We promised it earlier. We deliver now. Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And there are a couple of moments to take a look at.
Duncan Keith right in the middle of everything. Great tonight for the Blackhawks. 5-on-3. Big hoss from Duncan Keith and Patrick Kane. And then Duncan Keith stops another opportunity for the Oilers, and then it's Sharp. Hosa to Sharp. Over to Jonathan Toews. And Pat, I think I'm about 0 for the year, or maybe 0 for my last 15 about picking stars, but if Duncan Keith isn't the first star tonight, I like my tie. I was going to say I was going to eat my tie, but I actually like this tie.
No, and it's too big. I don't want you to choke.
He's been
great. But yeah, you know, you got Shaw's got a couple of goals, and Hosa's got a few points, and
just from
lots of candidates.
Not in the chair that I sit in, for watching the completeness and not just looking at the numbers.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, we talk about it a fair amount, and I don't think it can be overstated, because certainly not from a coaching standpoint. Defense leading to offense. I mean, everything you showed us, the Oilers have their goalie off. 6 attackers with 2 minutes left. Here's Hall in front. A quick shot by Schultz. Didn't get a lot on it. A fluttering, easy save for Runta.
Remember, both teams have used their timeout as well.
So 6 skaters for Dallas Eakins, whose team so far has been outshot 41-19. They need 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to have a chance. Hall spins it back up the boards. Marinson's long shot never got through. Picked up Kruger. He's got an empty net in front of him. Gets the red line. Tries, but it's blocked by Marinson. Taylor Hall looking to start back. That got jammed up. Now Justin Schultz with 1.5 minutes to go. Hall, the chip and chase, but we beat to it by Hjalmarsson. Taylor Hall, helped on the boards by Jordan Eberle. Rolled it loose. Nugent Hopkins put it across. Here's a long shot and a good save by Runta. He had a good look at that. And managed to make the save and give no rebound.
Pat, for the Edmonton Oilers, they have all these players on the ice. Watch Alex Hemsky when this puck goes. Watch where he goes. Behind the net. Puck is getting to the middle. Standing off to the side. That's an easy save for the goaltender. Somebody's got to go to the front of the net. All you got to do is look.
Hawks win it. Josh Sharp. Fortunately, he got it out. And the final minute of regulation time. They try to get it in. That pass jammed up beautifully by Oduya. Picked up Hossa for the empty net. He shot it just wide. Now taken by Gagne. He turned it over to Sharp. He'll look in front. The long shot. Oh, that's blocked. Boy, Gagne turned that over. He knew he better block that shot. And he paid a price to do it. He's very slow to get up. Loose puck. Hossa couldn't get it through. And a couple of open net bids for the Hawks. Now Gagne just has to hoist it ahead. They turn it over with 15 left. And the Hawks make it another chance to add one. But Hall had it knocked away. Hossa picked it up. Helped by Hjalmarsson. 2 seconds. Hawks win. The Chicago Blackhawks pick up their 30th victory of the year in their 48th game. And Antti Raanta tested very little tonight, but moves to 12-1-3. So the Blackhawks move to 70 points in their first 48 games. Center ice to salute and thank their fans who once again fill the building.
Solid effort. Didn't get off to the start they wanted, Pat. Playing from behind. A lot of contributors. And scoring goals in a lot of different ways. And a solid performance from the backup goaltender, Antti Raanta.